Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. This week, we're going to be talking about books that are on Final Order Cutoff Monday, January 12th. And let me say, for the second FOC of 2026, this seems to be one of the biggest ones and most important ones to pay attention to. Not only are there some major number one issues, new series starting this FOC, but this has some of the hottest covers and variants I've seen in a long time. We also have an incredible special guest, so do not miss out. Stay tuned after this opener for one of the best shows of the year.
Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
I just realized I'm wearing my Somna shirt, right now to match the opener.
Well, I think it's funny that you wear the same shirt every week to do that video. For a year.
Yeah, we'll have to do an updated 2026 version. But that being said, hey, everyone, thank you guys for tuning in. We are talking about all the comics on FOC this Monday, January 12th. And this is a big week. I really feel it's weird to, shoot my shot this early in the year, but I think this is going to be a huge FOC week. And it's very important for people to watch and get your orders into your local comic shop this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The end of the year is always slow, right? There are skip weeks. There are publishers who are taking weeks off of FOC. Printers are closed for the holidays. There's all this kind of moving of parts. And then we get into the new year and things get right back on schedule. The trains start running. And what you wind up seeing is these incredible weeks where there's just banger after banger. And when you look at our special guest today, the list of things that they have coming up.
Yeah.
Would be a whole FOC show in and of itself generally. So it's one of those this is going to be one of those weeks where we struggle to get through it in 2 hours. I guarantee it.
Let's hope not. But yes, I do feel that. All right. Well, let's remind everyone, in case we do struggle to get everything through, where they can find all of the comics on Final Order Cutoff this week. There are 2 main websites. And if you're a fan of Marvel, Boom Studios, Ignition Press, IDW, Dark Horse, Square Enix, Kodansha, and so many more, you're going to want to check out prhcomics.com. That is the home of Penguin Random House, one of the largest distributors of books in the world. And there they have this wonderful website where you can see right off the bat, they know what the key thing is. FOC for January 12th is right there. Clicking that link will bring you to this wonderful section of the website showing you everything. We always recommend sort it by title A to Z, and you can see everything that they're offering on Monday's FOC. But if you're a fan of DC, Image Comics, Oni Press, Dynamite, and so many others, you're going to want to go over to lunardistribution.com. This fun little website right here. A short scroll down the page gives you the upcoming FOC. Make sure you're checked on the right date, January 12th, to see all of the offerings from that wonderful distributor. Between these two, you pretty much have everything in comics, and you can get your orders to your local comic shop by Monday so you can get all the covers and books you want. Now, before we dive in to all of the books on FOC, we have a special guest who has an incredible book on FOC this week. He has been the artist of I Hate Fairyland, some of the cutest covers at Udon Comics. He is the man behind Zoo Patrol, Battle Bugs, and the upcoming Dungeon Crawler Carl the Crocodile. But we're here to talk to him today about his newest book on FOC, Dork. And with that, we want to welcome Brett Bean to the show.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me, Mathias. Thank you.
Hey, Brett, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I am excited to talk to you about some amazing comics, but I am beyond excited to talk to you about Dork because this book not only looks incredibly cute, has some of the best humor I have read in comics in a while.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That actually means a lot because that was a big task I knew I wanted to tackle was the comedy centric and hyper violent at the same time sort of vibe. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think if anybody has read I Hate Fairyland, they're likely already familiar with Brett, but they will adore this book that takes it to a brand new fantasy level. And for me, I think the thing I was most excited about is I was ready to appreciate and enjoy our main protagonist. But some of the side characters introduced in issue one alone might have stolen the show for me. There's definitely a little guy in there that I am in love with, but tell us a little bit about the world of Dork and some of the characters they're going to be introduced to in this upcoming issue or this first issue.
okay, so this book basically what I pitched it to myself. It was like if you ever thought Lord of the Rings could be funnier or that the Muppets could be darker, bloodier, with more consequences to their actions, then this is going to fit right in there. And so that's kind of where it germinated in my brain of like, okay, this is where it's going to be. So really, the story, it's a character-driven story, and it's about a half dwarf, half orc, all dork, and he lives in a world split in between these two factions. There's light versus dark, elf versus goblin, wizard versus necromancer, and he's kind of stuck in the middle. So can can this little guy survive in a world that basically wants him dead because there is a prophecy that says a creature born in the light and raised in the dark will bring about the end of the world as we know it? And so it's this play off of will he, won't he? Is he really going to end the world as we know it? Or can he heal it and change it in that way? So it's this kind of play off of that. And then he's got this magical, ultra violent shield that he has that comes into play. And then he's got a chicken friend that he makes along the way in the first issue. And that's sort of where it kind of starts off. So we kind of start out with a bang right off the bat in issue one. So.
And I love the idea of all the ultraviolet talking weapons we have in modern comics, from, talking swords and axes, a shield. The shield is the ultraviolet item.
Yep, all part of my plan, sir. So I remember hearing about why they hired James Caan to be in Misery, because he's a very active actor and he always wants to be on the move. And they hired him on purpose to be stuck in a bed and to make him very uncomfortable. And I thought the only way to make a violent person uncomfortable is like put him in a super defensive and not very offensive type of thing. And so that's what kind of plays off of just the shield, like, oh my gosh, this is a soul who wants to cause violence and can't really, and has to find a way. So
Oh man, yeah, it works. It definitely hits all the levels of humor. So one of the things I want to talk about, because it's always that question, you get kids that come into comic shops and they look at I Hate Fairyland and they're excited. But I Hate Fairyland, not a kid's book. How do you feel on Dork? Is this something that you can hand to, what range of readers?
I would say any kid who's been into manga, and I would say a lot of parents are kind of clueless when it comes to what their kids are reading. And there's like appropriate Penguin Random House, like you even talked about Zoo Patrol Squad. There are ones that are built for kids in that safe zone. And then there are parents like, kind of like me. I let my kid read Dungeon Crawler Carl because I also know who my kid is and I'm responsible for what they understand, what they're allowed to say, what they're allowed to like go with. And so I think kids are individuals, but I think the ones that can get into manga and that sort of violent take on the world that manga gives them, and they're into it a lot, then I think that they're fine. But it's going to be a case by case basis. Some kids are ready for it and some aren't, but it's definitely like teen above is fine. But on the younger kids, it's the same thing when I have original pages from I Hate Fairyland and kids come by. I look at the parents first and say, don't flip through this unless your kids are ready to flip through and see some stuff. And they, like, okay, thank you, or like, oh yeah, they're fine. We watch Rick and Morty together. It's fine.
I think there you go. That's the argument is, like me and my, I hate to admit this. This is how I get in trouble on, live air. My 9-year-old son, watches Rick and Morty with me, and I think that the opening song in Dork issue #1, my son's gonna laugh his butt off at.
Nice. Well, I try to remind people, it's like, you have all these kids watching Anakin Skywalker, and then he commits genocide, the biggest genocide in the history, and they're brushing their teeth with Darth Vader jammies on and their Darth Vader toothbrush, and he's like, that's a world killer. So, okay, it doesn't matter. It's all you accept that.
Absolutely. That's a hard transition.
I'm just saying, it's like, okay.
All right, so you are the man behind Dork. You were writing it, you were drawing it, but you have some great cover artists
Oh,
on
they're
this.
so good. These guys are so talented. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about who you have on issue #1?
So issue #1, I've got Jason Howard. You just kind of showed his. That's Jason Howard's cover. I've got Jorge Corona. I've got Ryan Otley's cover is bonkers. Ryan Stegman's cover is awesome. We got Riley Rosmo is coming in on issue 2. Mirka Andolfo, the Italian artist, I just was in Japan with her and got her to do a cover for me as well. So that's going to be issue 3, I believe. Scotty Young just turned in his issue and it's being colored now. And then I also have a Daniel Warren Johnson on the way as well. So I have gone out of my way and bent over backwards and tried to find all of the people that I respect as artists, but also as people as well. So it's been awesome to kind of see their take on the universe and stuff. So
Wow, I thought your issue #1 covers were beyond belief amazing, but then you're just adding to it. Like, do we have issue numbers for Scotty Young or Daniel Warren Johnson yet?
not yet because Scotty's just turned in his and we have to get it colored. So I believe it's going to be #3. I believe that that's what it's going to be. Because the FOC for #2 is already out. We'll see where we land on it, how fast we can get it done. But again, it's all because you want to give people to get to order it ahead of time. You want to give them their space and time to be able to do that. So it's whenever that's appropriate. So that's TBD, sorry, but it is on its way. I've seen it. It's awesome. He always does a great job. So yeah.
I love it. I love in the comments already. People are excited about the cover artists on this.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing looking series. Is this going to be a mini series or an ongoing series?
This is ongoing. If the people respond to it and they like it, then it's going to be an ongoing. I have things beaten out. I've gotten the first 5 issues are done, and I've beaten out to 10, and I have story ideas for 15 and 20 to get me there. So it really depends on if there's a thirst for it, if there's a hunger for it, and everybody likes it, then of course I have big plans and to expand the universe. And because it's a character driven story, but it's just like everybody, right? We all walk around with our own story, but there's a global story happening with everything that's around us as well. So there's room to play in that. So I left it open enough to where it can continue if it needs to. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Hopefully other people are too.
I do love that there is something about the world around us in there, in that you have this light versus dark and, a character who wants to exist outside of that, like black and white concept.
Yeah. It's kind of how I feel I live my entire life all the time, even since like high school, like between even the, jocks and dorks like me and nerds, and like you try to tread that fine line between these two different groups, and I've been doing that my entire life, even in Hollywood. Oh, don't get me started on Hollywood.
Well, on the note of dorks,
Yeah.
um, the title of the book obviously is dork. I mean, you play a great pun right off in the title in there, but let's talk about the dork of this all. Our protagonist is and isn't dork. Can you talk a little bit about this? Because you make that a key joke right off the bat in the story.
Yeah. So he is half dwarf, half orc, all dork. And yeah, I'm not, I don't even know if I'm gonna reveal what I have planned with that whole like, is he, isn't he, does he have a real name? So right now, I am firmly in the place where, oh, it's, I want everybody to just label him, and he runs with it. So he's just the dork in the same way. Where I even kind of poke fun at like, it's kind of like it's a funny dad pun at the same time. I'm a father, and it's like, oh yeah, word smushes are funny to me, especially if they play off who the character is, and he's kind of a dork, so it works with his name. Um, it kind of all worked perfectly, and yeah, so I'm going to continue playing off of that, like that premise of being in both worlds, but just kind of being a dork within it.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and it's some amazing, amazing covers, amazing interiors, but you don't leave Dork to be covers by other people. Obviously, you've got the main cover on there, and you've been doing covers on other books.
I
Uh,
have. Yeah.
Recently, you have been doing covers with Udon over on the various Darkstalker Street Fighter crossovers.
I have.
Can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure, yeah. So that's with Marshall Dillon over at Udon Entertainment. He contacted me, and we worked out a deal to, I would do one cover, and I do one interior joke page to kind of lighten the mood from all of the heavy Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers usual thing. Um, and so I just make fun of the universe. So I get one page to sort of make a joke, like six panel at the expense of those characters. And then I also worked out a deal where I get one artist edition as well. So Udon gets a cover. I have a special artist edition that I sell only through my website, and then there's an interior joke panel in each one. And it's been great. It's been great fun to kind of go back to that. I started out in video games, so Street Fighter and Darkstalkers were like up my alley, and I used to play those games relentlessly and destroy that car in the middle of that parking lot. That poor car I used to beat up with Blanca, um, button mash, kill. And so it's just kind of fun to kind of play in that universe and be a part of it. And yeah, uh, it's been awesome. Yeah. I like everything that I work on. I try to say I'm in that point in the career where I don't have to say yes to projects you don't want to work on. So it's been a thrill to be able to work on these things and go like, I'm really excited for all of it. So it's just, I'm in that awesome stage.
I love that. I had no idea that you had those. So where is your website? So if people want to discover these Darkstalker Street Fighter covers that are exclusive to you.
BrettBean.com, BrettBean.com, and they can get on there, and there's a whole site for original art and those exclusives and stuff. So yeah.
That's awesome. Now, if anybody hasn't already picked up the Darkstalkers X Street Fighter covers, your next one actually releases this coming Wednesday. Darkstalkers Street Fighter Rogues releases January 14th. And next Monday's FOC is going to have the FOC for Darkstalkers Street Fighter Hunter Killers. So if you have not already got this, if your store's not carrying them, make sure to let them know before next Monday you need the Brett Bean Udon covers.
Yeah. Yeah, today is the day I'm working on the next ones as well. So
Yeah, I mean, and these have been great. Like Marshall has been co-writing these along with people like Tim Seeley. I mean, you're getting some of the best in the industry on these. So if you're a fan of either franchises and you haven't been grabbing these comics, reach out to your local comic shop. These are available through Lunar Distribution. Many of them are still available through the distributor, so your store can still get them if they're not already on the shelf. and get these orders in. Like I said, January 19th, you can FOC Hunter Killers, and that releases February 25th, which is pretty nicely timed. It seems like you guys are having those just off kilter. Dork seems to be like it is releasing early in the month. The first issue hits the first Wednesday of February. The second issue hits the second week of March, and just seems to match up just off kilter with the Darkstalker Street Fighters.
Yeah. So I'd like to claim that everything kind of is on purpose, but it's not. But sure, yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. I have this big plan of attack, and it's all working out smoothly.
All right. And if people end up loving Dork, which I'm certain they will, and they want more from you, if you haven't checked out I Hate Fairyland, you did quite the run of I Hate Fairyland that is now collected in trade paperbacks. I believe it is volumes 5 and 6 of the trade paperbacks, which I believe we have on screen to confirm that. Yes, it is. There we go.
Actually, 7 and 8 as well. So they're all out, and I believe the big yellow book of book 3, which collects 1 through 10, is out, and I believe the one that collects 11 through 20 comes out February 12th, not 4th. What's the next week? What's the next Wednesday after that? Is it
That would be, you know what? This is the
11th?
fun of having that.
Oh,
That would be February 11th. Yes.
11th. Yeah. So that one will be out, and you can pre-order that one as well at your local shop. And that one comes out, which is the big collection of the hardcover, which collects the next 10 that I did. So there's 20 full issues out there that I did of I Hate Fairyland. So yeah, it was a good amount of time and effort. So yeah, it was fun. It was good times too.
So if if you want the fantasy realm of Brett, you got Dork. If you want to go into the fairyland realm, I Hate Fairyland.
That's right.
All right, but that's not all. You were doing even more. You have covers with more fantasy protagonists and talking, weaponry in the way of Vault's Barbaric.
Yeah. I've got Barbaric Vault contacted me for this next series that I'm working on, as well as Dork, over the next year. And then they asked me, "Is like, hey, we really want to get some variants from you. Let's figure it out." And I was like, "Oh, what do you want?" And he's like, "Barbaric. We want Barbaric." Um, so I got to work on this. Michael Morici and I are actually working on the other script for the other project with Vault. And so it sort of just kind of worked out where we're both fans of each other. We both like each other's work. And he's like, let's get you on these. So it's going to be 3 different covers. I believe the first 2 are out and available to order. I don't know if number 3 has.
Yeah, so issue number 1 is out now. You can grab that at your local comic shop. Issue number 2 of Barbaric the Long Death is actually on FOC next week on January 19th, and that'll be in stores February 18th, which I
Okay.
think we have that cover potentially available. And then issue number 3 will follow in March. Yeah, there's the number 2 cover.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. I haven't seen the actual. All right, this is the first time I'm seeing that cover on number 3. I didn't see it dressed up yet. Nice.
Okay, we'll throw number 3
Yeah.
back on. You can live evaluate your own artwork.
Oh, I'll butcher myself. I don't want to do that.
There it is. All sorts of fun. Now, as you said, the reason you're doing these great covers on Barbaric, you have another project that'll be coming out to the masses in late 2026 from Vault. Can you talk about that?
That one is Dungeon Crawler Carl the Crocodile. So I don't know if you've heard. I do know that comic book people and book people are starting to merge, but there's still a separation between the two. The book series Dungeon Crawler Carl is one, it's amazing, and also Matt Dinneman, who writes it, is a really cool guy. So I like promoting cool people. So they contacted me and said like, hey, we need an interior artist for this project. And I was already a fan of the book series. And when they came calling, I was like, well, boy, that's doubling down on the amount of work I have to do this year. But I kind of knew if I didn't jump on this that I would regret it. So I said yes. And I said, oh, I can do anything hard for a short amount of time. No worries. So So I'm going to make sure that I'm working on both projects and doing the best of my ability to both of those. Luckily, when they said it was going to be a full graphic novel instead of a monthly, that's when I could say yes, because I'm like, oh, okay, it's not like it's the stringent schedule of boom to boom to boom to boom, like we have to hit the marathon that is an ongoing series. So that's why I said yes, and I'm ecstatic. I've loved working with him and with Michael and the folks at Vault. It's been really fun, and I get to nerd out and I get to know the guy who I'm reading and going, oh, I really like your stuff. I have to act professional, but I've had the years in Hollywood. I've met people at Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and you kind of nerd out, but you have to do it inside, so you look profesh. And then you nerd out as soon as you hang up the phone, you're like, So I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a great time.
Well, it works out perfect because the trade paperback of Dungeon Crawler Carl just became accessible to comic shops within the past week. It is available through Penguin Random House. If your store is not carrying it and you need it, you just reach out to your local comic shop now, and it perfectly times because you guys just came off a very successful Kickstarter for the Crocodile, and hopefully we'll be seeing it in comic shops and bookstores later this year.
Yeah. Yep. That's the goal. Get it all done.
I love it. So this is going to be the year of Brett Bean in comic and bookstores. I mean, we have Dork, we have Darkstalkers, we have Barbaric, and that's just the start of the year. Do you think you can
Yeah.
continue to keep up this pace throughout 2026?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can. Who needs to sleep? Who needs to shower? It'll be fine.
There it is.
No, I'm excited. That's the cool thing is like I'll put my energy into anything that gives its energy back, and all these projects and the people that I meet and people who love comics. It gives you the extra fuel and energy to keep going. It makes it all easier when you meet fans and peers and people that are just love this. I still go to my comic shop every week. I pick up my stuff on Wednesdays and order through the hub, and I do the same thing everybody else does. I love this. I love this medium, and it's really great to be around and be a part of. I don't take it lightly how awesome it is. So it's a great opportunity.
I am very excited. I mean, 2026, we're starting it off with Darkstalkers in stores next week. We have Barbaric and Dork coming out. Dork issue number 1 hits the first Wednesday of February, is on FOC this week. So everyone needs to go get your orders to your local comic shop on which covers you want, maybe multiple covers. I think I'm going to I want to go after that 1 in 50. I love that little chicken. So I know a lot of copies.
Yeah, Ryan was crazy. As soon as he saw that, he's like, I have to do the chicken. You have to let me do the chicken. I'm like, of course. I'm not going to tell you no. Yeah, do the chicken.
Well, there it is. And then issue number 2, FOC's February 16th with a March 11th release and continues on month after month. I mean, you said what? You had the first 5 issues already in the can?
Yeah. I already started to plan out the first graphic novel, and then we'll just kind of jump off of there, 6 through 10. Yeah.
Love it. It's going to be a fun year. So, for anyone else who wants to follow you to see the continued exploding rise of Brett Bean throughout 2026, where can they track you down? Where is your social media? Where can they find more news? As well as, I think you have a pretty awesome Substack too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do have a Substack, and that's more of like a personal story Substack. That's more of like a diary day in the life of kind of scenario. So you can always find me there, Brett Bean Substack. And then probably my biggest one is my work in progress and stuff. It's Instagram. So Brett 2D Bean. If you look up that, the number 2 and then D Bean. And you'll find me there, and that's usually where I kind of do like work in progress stuff or like sketches that I'm working on at the time. So yeah.
Awesome. And then if anybody wants to have the chance to meet you, I know you had a very impressive touring year in 2025 at conventions. Is that going to be keeping up in 2026?
Um, yes and no. So I'm going to pull back just a little bit because I also have all this work to do. So my first one is going to be MegaCon, and then C2E2 are my first ones. So I'll still hit all the big ones, San Diego and New York and all that kind of stuff. But we're building that plan out now. But for now, what I know are those ones first, and that's going to be in early March. So yeah.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope everyone who is watching reaches out to their local comic shop, gets an order in, because you're not going to want to miss out on Dork. This is an absolutely amazing comic.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Brett, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys. We have an impressive amount of books on FOC this week. I mean, Kyle, are you excited to talk about all the items that are on FOC at both PRH and Lunar today?
I'm excited to talk about some of them, and then some of them I want to scream into the void about.
Well, that sounds like quite the way to set it up, right?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, anytime there's a big FOC week like this, there's always stuff that's exciting. There's always stuff that, as a retailer and as a fan, you're like, okay, this is going to be a good release week. And then there's always stuff where you're like, you sons of, what the are you thinking? Like, and you want to scream about. So when you get to the volume we're at this week, it turns into one of those, you're going to have both sides of the coin.
Well, then, shall we dive right in over at Penguin Random House?
Let's do it.
All right. These are the books that are on FOC this Monday, January 12th. Big release for February. We have the final issue of Aliens versus Captain America. Already just unbelievable. I think one of the best Xenomorph selling books Marvel's put out. It's definitely the one that has me the most excited. We wrap up the first story arc of Amazing Spider-Man Torn, which takes place back in the days when you had Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane alive. And things continue on with great books like Arcadia over at Ignition, Deluge continuing on. We wrap up Avatar's The Gap Year while Avatar is still in theaters right now over with Disney. But the first big one I want to talk about has been one that the internet has been blowing up talking about, and that is Black Cat #7. G. Willow Wilson has been doing such a great job with our beloved Spider-Man spin-off character, Felicia Hardy. And I love the idea of her teaming up with Mary Jane as Venom. But this cover has been just going crazy. I have had so many pre-orders for it. I mean, I guess there was some drama because somebody expressed that this was a bad depiction of females in comics. And then, of course, the number one thing I heard responding was all of the women in comics that love this. A great Adam Hughes cover featuring both of our female protagonists in there. I'm hyped on this. I can tell you, my store manager, who is an incredible woman in comics, just instantly said, "No, this is exactly what I want in comics. Give me a ton of covers of it." So
I think the problem with this book isn't the depiction of women in comics; it's the depiction of tongues in comics.
I love it. I love it.
Like it's so thus far, tongues on comic covers have been Scooby-Doo, Gene Simmons, and like other animals, Pluto. Like, so finally we're getting some tongue on a cover, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's no good because it's Adam Hughes, and he draws his ladies sexy." No, the problem is he draws his tongues too realistic looking.
I don't know about you. I mean, I can certainly say my tongue isn't that long, but maybe the reality
Right,
is
like it shouldn't look moist on the cover.
Definitely a cover that's going to draw some attention, right? And it's not the only one. I love that, there's a bevy of incredible variants on there. Elizabeth Torque, Carrie Andrews, Gleb Melnikov, Ivan Talavera. I want every one of these covers, and I cannot wait to read this crossover.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, it does cross over into an upcoming issue of Venom. So all the more fun. But if we want to go to the dead opposite end, I mean, first off, Book of Slaughter getting a deluxe edition. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But dead opposite end of the Marvel Universe, it's Cyclops. Cyclops is getting his own solo book again.
Hey, Mathias, we skipped over one of my list.
No. I will definitely be coming back to that segment in a moment.
All right.
But I had to do a dead opposite comparison. After we have two femme fatale Marvel characters, I have to talk about the Boy Scout of the Marvel Universe, Cyclops with Alex Packnadel, just because I had it
The
loaded
most
up.
toxic male in all of the Marvel Universe is also the Boy Scout of the Marvel Universe.
He's totally the Boy Scout of the Marvel Universe. I mean, I will say I have been loving the turn ever since he really kind of came into his own in siding more with Magneto than Xavier, about 15 years ago. I think that this is going to be awesome to have him in a tale where he doesn't have his X-Men. He doesn't have his allies. He is without his mask, despite being drawn with the mask on every cover, in the wilderness and hunted. How can this hero go with zero restraint and no vision without explosion?
Again, I could turn on the 24-hour Jerry Springer show channel and see people less toxic than Cyclops.
So you're
I'm
not
just
asking
saying.
numbers in this Alex Packnadel masterpiece, eh?
Alex Packnadel, like Jen and I actually talked to Alex Packnadel about this. Like, if anybody can write Cyclops that we don't want to just like write out of the Marvel Universe, it's Alex Packnadel. But Cyclops is the most toxic example of what can be wrong with a mutant of anyone. Like, even Magneto is less toxic when he's trying to kill all the people than Cyclops when he's trying to get with Jean. Just saying. But
Definitely
again, it's Alex Packnadel. Like, Alex Packnadel is such a great writer that I have to buy a Cyclops book, and I'm pissed about it.
I love it's definitely one of those things where the comments have strong opinions on this. So it'll be very interesting to see who's ordering it, how well this book does. But even when Kyle wants nothing but to hate on Cyclops, he's buying a copy.
Again, it's my friend Alex Packnadel. Somebody else wrote it, I wouldn't touch it. But that's also the power of putting a writer on a character, right? You take a writer who's known for doing a certain style, which Alex Packnadel is, and you put him on a character that you wouldn't necessarily think would be an Alex Packnadel character. And all of a sudden, it creates an interest that wouldn't have existed otherwise. And so, like, there's a benefit to taking a chance. It's like putting Rom V on Man Bat back in the day, right? Like, you wouldn't expect Rom V to have a very interesting take on Man Bat, but Rom V is so good at what Rom V does. Their take on Man Bat was phenomenal. So you have an opportunity here to create interest where there didn't used to be.
I perfectly agree with that. Yeah. All right. But I know there was one you wanted to talk about that we skipped over alphabetically because I do not understand how alphabets work. Bright Segments.
Yes. So Bright Segments is the complete short fiction of James Salas. You might know James Salas from Ghost of a Flea, Black Hornet, Blue Bottle. He wrote Sarah Jane, Moth, The Eye of the Cricket, The Long-Legged Fly. That's a lot of like what he's known for, right? Are these bug-based sci-fi books. But my favorite is Difficult Lives, Hitchhiking Rides, Essays on Noir. So James Salas is a sci-fi fantasy writer who really took the time to go into and break down why the noir stories of the 20s and 30s are so important to our current sci-fi and fantasy. Right? And that's Difficult Lives. This is a complete collection of his short fictions, which are, in the most part, in my experience reading them, 5 or 6 pages a piece. They're short stories that are some of the most out there sci-fi you can read. And by that I mean, when you think about the weirdest Star Trek episodes you ever watched, right? Or when you think about Battlestar Galactica or some of these where they're not your traditional science fiction. There's more to them than that. This is
Where
that, but
sci-fi
condensed
plot,
down and
where in sci-fi it is not the science part of the fiction so much as the setting that allows the plot.
right, exactly. This is if you were to if you were to take a 2-hour Star Trek movie and condense it down into 5 minutes, that's what these are. James Salas, again, I think is one of the most important sci-fi writers that people don't know. If you want to pick something up, check out World's Edge is where I would start before I dive into the Bug books. But the Bug books are all New York Times bestsellers. There's sci-fi crime novels. So, this is one that I like because it's bite-sized extreme sci-fi.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that, as Brett pointed out, we're at that point where I really think we're seeing more crossover in comic fans and pros. And this is a great way to get that. And you have the opportunity to get it at your local comic shop, which was not always a universal case a few years ago.
Well, and that's one of those things too that you jump in here. This is something I could see being adapted into a mini series, right? Because they're 5 or 6 page stories, they're short stories. They'd be perfect for comic books.
Yeah. And, again, because was all out of alphabetical order. Deluge, as we mentioned, continuing on from Ignition Press. I am loving Cullen Bunn. He has a couple incredible books from various publishers on FOC this week. One I believe you wanted to talk about was the Dragonlance Legends book.
Right. So this is a hardcover. Yeah, this is a hardcover Dungeons and Dragons book. But it's Dragonlance. So it's Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman. This is prose, but they did Dragonlance comics. You've probably seen the Dragonlance comics. I think Titan did them, maybe.
Yes, I believe Titan and I think IDW might reprint them.
Yeah. So, but there were even DC did Dragonlance back in the 80s, early 90s. So this is that same, again, sword and sorcery sort of fantasy that you saw in those comics back in the 80s and 90s that you've seen from Titan, you've seen from IDW, you've seen from DC, except it's in a prose novel. This is definitely for fans of your George R.R. Martin books. And sorry, I can't say his name without sounding like a pirate anymore. That kind of, if you're watching the new Game of Thrones HBO Max show, this is the kind of stuff you're going to dig. And again, it's a big, thick prose hardcover.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it. I mean, I hate to say it this way. I get the value of a dusk jacket, but I like when there's a hardcover without a jacket. I think that those always make your bookshelf look a little bit fancier.
Yeah, for sure. And that'll be an embossed cover too.
Oh no, I killed it, but I'll have to bring it back up. One of the things I want to talk about is the incredible. I've discovered this new option to kill tabs without clicking them, and it's going to ruin my life on this live stream. EC Archives Panic. If you're not familiar with Panic, you're likely at least still familiar with Mad Magazine. Mad Magazine, one of the most popular long-running comics to have come out of EC, getting absorbed by DC Comics. Panic was I think it says right there on the cover, the only authorized imitation of Mad. In the 1950s and 60s, everyone was trying to do their take on Mad Magazine. EC decided to double down with another one, and it led to some internal struggle between the folks at IC, including Al Feldstein, as eventually everything we loved in Panic got absorbed over into Mad Magazine. This was the less censored, more mature, crazy world of Al Feldstein, Wally Wood, and others in publication humor. And it is often, I think, overlooked. Dark Horse is finally bringing us a new archive edition of Panic, Volume 1, which is the first half of Panic. I'm assuming that means Volume 2 will wrap up all of the remaining Panic. But if you really want to see things that push the limits that led to the censorship of comics in the 1950s, I think Panic is a place to look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
lot of stuff that came because of Panic that we love, but then there's a lot of stuff that you're like, oh man, guys, you could have been a little bit more chill.
Yeah. And I mean, $20 for this collection. So many of the archive books like this, you're going to see from like companies like Fantagraphics, Taschen, and others, and they are 50 plus, $175 hardcovers. $20 collection that has the first 6 issues, I want to say, in this. Yeah, the first 6 issues. This is a steal of a deal, especially with the new love for EC that everyone is giving thanks to Oni's continuation of the EC universes and lines. So, in the realm of something that takes a good twist on classic concepts, there is a plethora of zombie tales out there in the world right now. But let's look to Japan for this very ecchi and mature take by Sirocco on zombies. It's Girls' Zombie Party, where we have the interesting concept of what if all the men in the world were the things that turned to zombies, and it was the women who had to load up on baseball bats, guns, knives, swords, and others to kill those lecherous, evil undead. A
It'd
fun
probably
take.
be more efficient.
What? Yeah, I
Evil,
agree.
or what is it? What is the games? Dead Rising would be like 2 cutscenes and one battle, and we'd be done.
There it
28
is.
days later would have been a week and a half later.
I like it. So, Seven Seas Entertainment, as they always like to bring the more mature and slightly sexy versions of these books, brings Girl Zombie Party to manga in the United States. I think this is going to be a funny and definitely sexy take on the zombie genre. It's weird again that it's a zombie genre at this point, not even just a trope. But there you have it. A little bit of naughty fun for the manga fans.
Absolutely. On the next row down, though, there are 2 great manga titles. I don't really want to talk about the books because I don't know anything about them, but the titles are great. I quit my apprenticeship as a royal court wizard to become a magic item craftswoman.
Volume 5.
Yeah. And I wish I could meet you again on the hill where that flower blooms.
Yeah.
Like,
And that
just a
one is
great title.
light novel, so it's short prose only, but sure to get a manga version soon.
Well, no, it will have spot illustrations. Light novels have spot illustrations.
Yes, yes. I just always want to point out because it's not sequential art.
Right.
So next big one I want to talk about is Imperial. If for any reason you missed out on Imperial, you missed out. This was a crazy cosmic adventure from Jonathan Hickman and Jed MacKay, 2 of the top writers at Marvel. And yet I think a lot of people slept on this massive Marvel event. This had all of the fun of Planet Hulk, the Galactic Empire of Wakanda, the return of the Nova Force, members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This was a incredible book, beautifully drawn, and this was the Civil War of Marvel space. This was the spiritual successor to the Annihilation events. And now is your opportunity, if for any reason you missed out on it, to grab the trade paperback for $35. Not only do you get the 4-issue miniseries, you get all the key one-shots that tied in. So everything in one for $35. A must read, in my opinion, if you are a Marvel fan. Then we get a second printing of Incredible Hulk 30. If you missed out on the book that led into Infernal Hulk, here's your chance to grab it. It ties so wonderfully into Infernal Hulk that if you're reading Infernal Hulk and you missed out on Philip Kennedy Johnson's finale there, this is a must grab. We have wonderful books of the continuing library edition hardcovers of Lumberjanes by the incredible N.D. Stevenson and others. You likely know N.D. Stevenson is the figure behind Nimona, which blew up recently in its animated film, and I think is leading more people to checking out this awesome tale. Lumberjanes is incredible, and these collections are wonderful in both softcover and hardcover. A lot of great continuing series. I want to pull to another manga with a unique concept, Otaku X Gal. Otaku X Gal deals with a young nerdy boy who is really just trying to live his life under the radar when he hits high school, only to be found by one of the most popular girls in school because she understands the value of this nerdy guy in his ability to draw and enjoy everything like painting miniatures because that's the perfect man to paint your nails and design your fashion. It's a really goofy and unique take on the value of geek culture in influencing popular trends. And Square Enix has brought this to the US finally with a great English translation that I think will be a really wonderful, subtle romance. It's definitely a comedy, a romantic comedy for those who feel they don't always fit in.
So right before Otaku X Gal on the FOC page
Would be
of Penguin
Operation.
House, Operation Bounce House.
There it is. Yeah.
We talked about him earlier, Matt Dinneman, who is responsible for Dungeon Crawler Carl, right?
Yeah.
So this is a prose novel from him. It's sci-fi, and really the description, the first paragraph of the description they give is maybe the best description for this book. A man must fight for his planets against impossible odds when gamers from Earth attempt to remotely annihilate it in this epic, fast-paced novel from the author of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So the premise here is that we have terraformed other places. This guy goes to live in one of those other places, and all he wants to do is run his family ranch, play some music, live an easy life. And then all of a sudden, he finds himself thrust into the front of a battle against, in my mind, the way I feel about it is like streamer influencers, you know, the Mr. Beast types that are, they're on Earth and they're trying to destroy his planet because it's good content. Right. And I don't know that that's exactly what Matt was going for when he wrote the book, but the excerpt that I've read kind of feels that way. And this feels that's how I'm going. That's my headcanon. Okay. You don't have to feel that way. My headcanon. Anyway.
Yeah, I do want to point out because you mentioned the excerpt. One of the beautiful things. I mean, we've seen preview pages before on PRH and Lunar. If you go scroll down, not only the about, you can get information on the creator, praise from other, major authors and influencers. But the excerpt really does give you the opportunity to read some of the content of this book right there for free on PRH's website.
Right. And so the thing about it is like, and I've actually read more than this. I was able to get an excerpt from Berkeley, from the publisher, like a 10-page excerpt. So that was super cool. But the game is this game, Operation Bounce House. And so this guy finds himself on the front lines battling these people at this game. And imagine not being a gamer, but having to become one to save your world. It kind of gives Ready Player One vibe or Armada vibe, except that instead of trying to save Earth, you're trying to be like, can you guys just go back to Earth and leave me alone? So it comes from a little bit more of a place of maybe not antagonization, but like isolation. So I'm very excited for this book.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think you nailed it with Ready Player One. Like that was one of the things I want to say. Matt Dinneman is for the people who liked Ready Player One but want a better quality book. Sorry, but I will be honest with it. A better quality book. Matt Dinneman's, Dungeon Crawler Carl, phenomenal. Operation Bounce House. I think it's going to be an exciting one that you can put in front of anybody who grabbed Dungeon Crawler Carl. And again, going back to what Brett said earlier, we're at that point where there is more pros in comic shops because there's an availability of more pros to comic shops. And this is one that I think will be successful and a great way to support your local comic book store or local bookstore over one of those big box stores or, the horrible Brazilian river of websites that everyone can order today overnight from. Because
By
support your
by the
local comic.
way, if you're into Dungeon Crawler Carl and you like audiobooks and you're an Audible user, Dungeon Crawler Carl is on sale 70% off right now.
Ooh, there you go.
I know
So,
because I have a long drive and I was looking for a book and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get the audiobook of Dungeon Crawler Carl.
there it is. Punisher. Benjamin Percy is bringing Punisher back. And I say Punisher bringing back, but I mean, Punisher right now is really coming off of a big end of 2025. He had a Red Band book, he had a Marvel Knights book, both done by the incredible Joe. Oh my God. Kyle, help me. Amanda Connor's husband.
Jimmy Palmiotti.
Palmiotti. Oh, wow. There's the outtake for the rest of my entire life when I forgot Jimmy Palmiotti's name.
Although he does answer if you call him Jimmy Connor.
and then Kyle saved me. All right, sorry. So Punisher, 2 big series at the end of 2025 that were constant sellouts, huge popularity. So now is your time to get ahead. Help comic shop retailers like me understand that Punisher is the in-demand character of Marvel going into his Disney Plus premiere in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Order Punisher #1 from your local comic shop. Benjamin Percy is bringing him back with a bit of memory loss. And as Frank Castle tries to figure out why he can't remember things, we're going to reintroduce the villain of Jigsaw to him. This is set in the main Marvel Universe. We will see heroes. We will see villains. We will see a lot of bullets flying. And we will see blood. Brand new ongoing. I think this is going to be good.
Punisher's one of those characters that I had a problem with for a long time, right? I enjoyed Punisher, but like they did him so dirty in the movies. And then they did him so dirty in the comic books. Because like Marvel was trying to distance themselves from what, the Punisher symbol had come to stand for, like in the real world. And then they did that terrible new symbol that like I thought was cool looking, but wasn't the Punisher. Like would have been cool if it was like anti-Punisher and that was their logo, right? Like they wore a white suit with a black, like something could have been cool, but it just didn't quite work. And then the Marvel Knights, Palmiotti, Casada, the new Punisher happened. And it just felt so good.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't really go away from Punisher for a good while.
Right. To have the original, I'm Frank Castle. You killed my family. Prepare to die. Like, I'm Frank Castle. I stand for the little guy. It felt like that short that Thomas Jane did with Ron Perlman. The Punisher short was that Punisher was back as opposed to some of the Punisher we had seen. And I will include the first series of the John Barenthal Punisher in that. That it was just kind of meh for me because they weren't leaning fully into what Frank Castle is. I think that's going to happen now because like I think now that they were setting the groundwork that this is going to turn into that. But these series have been so good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, one of the big things for me is I loved Barenthal in Daredevil Born Again. I will always be a fan of Garth Ennis's Punisher Max, but
Yes.
I really like Punisher in the main Marvel Universe. But he has to still be that Frank Castle Punisher.
Bring back the white go-go boots.
There it is. All right, so some beautiful covers on this. I'm responding to somebody from Image right now, of course.
No, it's funny. I said that joke years ago, but it was true. When Marvel was concerned about how Punisher was being co-opted in sort of a not great way, especially in the early 2000s, the easy fix would have been to bring back the white knee highs, right? There is no guy who claims to be a tough guy who's going to walk around in white knee-high boots. Just saying.
True.
And now that he's back, I want the white boots back, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, so really quickly, I apologize. To go back to the covers, obviously there is an Alex Maleev classified cover. I'm assuming this is probably going to have Jigsaw on it, but who knows what it could be revealing? Maybe a new symbol for Punisher,
Could also
but
be
something to
super
pay
bloody.
attention. Yeah. But I also have to really quickly point out, not something every store is going to get because ratio variants do have to be reached for at times. Take a look at that Philip Tan cover with the reflection, or not the reflection, the lack of blood on the hand axe showing the Punisher skull. I think that is a stunning cover. Reach out to your local comic shop, check and see if they're getting it, if you're interested in it, and check to see how much it'll cost. Because once again, ratio covers do take a little bit more to reach for. But that is a cool cover, and I think, well, it didn't make our top 10. It was definitely a competitor for it.
Right. And just, I said it a second ago, but I want to reiterate something we're hearing from Marvel, at least that I'm starting to hear, is that some of these classified covers are going to be some of your more gory, bloody, extreme covers. Like think the old Red Band for Blood Hunt, some of that kind of stuff, where they're not going to show you ahead of time what the cover looks like. But just know because it's classified, they're turning it up to 11.
I like it. All right, in going for horror, Hannah Rose May is bringing us Smile for the camera. Yes, it's part of the Smile series of films that have been popular, the last one having come out back in 2024. IDW Dark has been getting a bunch of interesting licenses, everything from Event Horizon, Return to Sleepy Hollow. Now we have the Smile set. Well, I've never seen the movies. This concept sounds so exciting to me. The idea that it is Fashion Week in New York and a group of girls arrive there to do everything they can to make it in this industry that is very superficial. But one of them might have that entity of the smile. I mean, Kyle, I know you and I were talking about the incredible marketing campaign that the films had, a couple years
Yeah.
back.
Well, yeah, the films had a crazy cool marketing campaign where they were sending people to big events like the Today Show and WWE and having them with that smile on their face the whole time. So, like, this isn't the kind of horror I normally go for, but Hannah Rose May is a great writer. And there's an artist that I would like to see do a cover that isn't on this yet, but has worked with Hannah Rose May before, which is Vanessa Del Rey.
Ooh, yeah.
I would love to see some Vanessa Del Rey art on this book. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. And I will say there are some absolutely amazing covers, though. Becky Cloonan, Kevin Wada, I think, has my favorite one. But the mirror foil variant has a lot of my attention because, well, it's depicting itself as red with that. I imagine it is going to be a reflective foil that could. I mean, you want to check that price. It is marked at $12.99. Right there, $12.99. But I think that would be a really cool cover. It reminds me of back when Michael Turner was doing Shrugged over at Aspen, and they had the awesome mirror image in the center with the devil and angel on your shoulders. So I really like innovative covers like that. I think this is interesting, and Hannah Rose May can do no wrong. From Exorcism at 1600 pen, she has Guy in the Chair currently. She did unbelievable series prior to that. This one, like I said, it's a little outside of my wheelhouse. I haven't seen the Smile films, but I'll check out the comic. All right. Let's see if we can get Kyle to say something he will regret. Because the next one I got to talk about is Star Wars Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks gets a one-shot set post Revenge of the Sith, and it is going to be co-written by the actual actor who played Jar Jar Binks, Ahmed Best, along with Mark Guggenheim. I actually was talking with Mark earlier this week, trying to get him to be the guest here. He just unfortunately wasn't able to, do it. But in that, I really am excited about this. This is a powerful team. Ahmed and Mark just recently worked on Jedi Knights, where they did a special issue focusing on Jedi Knight Kelleran Beck, which was another character played by Ahmed Best, the character who rescued Grogu in The Mandalorian. And guess who's going to be in this issue alongside Jar Jar Binks? Jedi Knight Kelleran Beck. So
Listen, I don't know. This is not a political statement, but the Gungans really need to think about who they're electing to the Galactic Council. Like, that is just bad voter motivate. That is like just bad campaigning of whoever ran against Jar Jar. Okay. Like, you've sent Jar Jar Binks to negotiate trade routes and things against the likes of like Chancellor Valorum. Really? He's the best you got? Did I say something I'm going to regret?
No, I mean, I love it because that right there is the concept of, Jar Jar faces the consequences of giving emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. I think the key moment people forget in Revenge of the Sith that Jar Jar played one of the most pivotal roles in creating the Empire. So, and I love it. I mean,
Jar Jar's a Sith Lord.
Yeah, there it is. And you get two characters played by Ahmed Best in this, written by Ahmed Best with Mark Guggenheim. It's going to have incredible artwork considering it's Kieran McCown and Laura Braga, who I both adore. This is going to be a Star Wars one-shot to own. So
I would do my Jar Jar impression, but with my voice being what it is, it's not going to work.
There it is. So I also want to point out the continuation of Star Trek Last Starship. If you're not reading this, if you've ever remotely been a Star Trek fan, you were doing yourself a great disservice. This is one of the best Star Trek books ever put out in comic form. Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly killing it with this amazing, amazing book. The continuation of Starship Godzilla, all the great space stuff currently coming out. A lot of fun to be had here. A lot of great continuing series. A lot of Turtles books. We hit the end of Ultimate stuff.
Real quick, Matthias, I didn't put this on my list, but I just noticed it and I want to mention it. Is Strange Animals by Jared K. Anderson. It's another prose book. This is, if you read Bill Quist's book, Helen of Windhorn.
Yes.
Think Helen of Windhorn. This is prose for people who like Helen of Windhorn. A man finds a mystical land full of creatures, and in doing so finds a home where he feels comfortable as opposed to the world in which he comes from. So this is a debut for Jared K. Anderson, but it's a pretty cool concept. Especially again if you like Helen of Windhorn.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great comparative. I didn't even think about that, but that masterful Tom King and Bill Quist Everly, piece.
I forget that Tom King worked on that book because Bill Quist really carried the weight.
Yes.
I would say that to Tom King's face.
Ooh.
The art of that book really carried the weight.
So here's one that I am just impressed with Marvel's push on this. The final issue of Ultimate X-Men is on FOC this Monday. Ultimate X-Men 24, the end of Peach Momoko's 2-year run of writing and drawing Armor and others in this unbelievable manga-esque masterpiece set in Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Universe. This looks incredible. Now, I want to point out, since issue 1, I think that we've had 1 in 25 ratios is the highest ratio. Marvel's really banking on people ordering up on this final issue of Ultimate X-Men as there's 1 in 50 and 1 in 100 ratio variants. And that might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but it means in my mind that Marvel's really trying to put some weight behind this and expects a lot of high orders. It is the final issue, but one thing that's interesting that I took note in the solicit is this is the final issue of Ultimate X-Men. But what does the future hold for our favorite misfit mutants? How will they survive the world war that has broken out? And what happened to Armor? So, in my mind, this is stating that the Ultimate Universe will continue after Ultimate Endgame. I know a lot of people believe that is just going to be the end. I've been arguing and a proponent of the idea that it's the end of these series and this numbering, but I think there will be more. And this is the first thing to really give me a strong hint at it. I'm curious what people think in the comments. Feel free to let us know. But some stunning covers on Ultimate X-Men. Obviously, the connecting cover by Momoko that connects to this week's issue number 23 that just hit stands on Wednesdays. This is going to be a big one. Might be a multiple cover issue, could be a big reveal, could be the big moment that gives you a hint at what happens post Endgame. So take note of it. Get your orders into your local comic shop, especially if you haven't been reading Ultimate X-Men, but need that book that ties into Ultimate Endgame.
And if you're out there still kind of going, I wonder why they're ending Ultimates and doing all of this. There was a great podcast that came out this week or last with Ross Ritchie and Mark Bagley, where Ross kind of breaks down the economics in a way that I've not heard before and kind of explains in a way that, again, I've not thought of before why some of the editorial decisions are being made the way they're being made.
I mean, Ross is a good man to have that insider look.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, yeah, it takes somebody who has Ross Ritchie's experience to be able to explain it in English in a way that people can get.
Interesting.
So,
what podcast was that?
I don't know. All I saw were clips, and it's one of those things that I'm listening to this afternoon. But I mean, he breaks down how Mark Bagley's career at Marvel has spanned 5 different editor-in-chiefs. Well, why is that? Well, because editor-in-chiefs are replaceable. Well, how do you keep an editor-in-chief from getting replaced? You publish commercially profitable books. How do you make sure your book is commercially profitable? Well, you publish books that are vanilla, don't offend anybody. You do miniseries that come back to number 1s. You end series at their high points so that there's clamoring for whatever the next thing is.
Interesting. Well, it was very well put. Well, on that idea of bringing back new number 1s, the Merc with the Mouth is back in Wade Wilson Deadpool number 1. Benjamin Percy taking the lead, who is not the person I would think. I mean, Benjamin Percy, if you wanted to throw him on Wolverine, X-Force, Punisher, anything where he's going to make something ultra violent and dark, I think Benjamin Percy is your man. Having him placed with the comedic value of the Merc with the Mouth seems interesting, but this doesn't seem like your traditional lighthearted humor of Deadpool. As it says in here, Wade isn't laughing. This is, a deadlier, higher staked, darker humor Deadpool than ever before. And I'm curious how that's going to be taken by Deadpool fans.
Well, is this a return to the old school, like Mikey Way Deadpool? Right? Or the original kind of Deadpool, the Liefeld era Deadpool, where Deadpool is much more serious. He's much more Deathstrokey. He didn't really become funny until later.
Oh, yes. I mean, I would say Joe Kelly is perhaps one of the biggest, responsible for truly getting the humor of Deadpool.
Right.
Yeah. Daniel Way Deadpool.
Anyway, sorry, what'd I say?
Mikey Way.
I'm thinking Mikey Day. No, Danny Way. Yes.
Yeah.
But that original kind of more serious, traditional Deadpool before, Brian Posehn started putting a joke in every other line and Jerry Duggan made him witty and, Joe Kelly really turned him into, what he is. This might be a tough nut for modern Deadpool fans, but old school Deadpool fans, I think, are going to flip. I think they're going to love it.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting take, definitely. Some great covers, definitely a darker tone, with the exception of Scotty Young, who nailed it pretty much on the nose. Nakayama, I would also say, kept our traditional humor. But it also gives a tone of what this could be. I am very curious what the perception will be on a darker Deadpool, and this is where one of those things that your average retailer is going to be playing guesswork too. So if darker Deadpool is what you want, definitely let your comic shop know. All right, just two quick wraps because we've been running on PRH longer than I wanted to. X-Men 25. This is the big anniversary issue. And on top of that, it shows that the Age of Revelation was not to be completely ignored as Cyclops returns from the Age of Revelation. So those who missed out on those 3 issue, like jaunts away from the main universe, Jed McKay is dragging it back to us. I'm curious how this will be taken. But if you were following the Age of Revelation and want more, this is the issue you're going to need. Wrap it all up with one last bit of X-Men, the Messiah trilogy. One of my favorite eras in the 2000s. Look, I think Jonathan Hickman did a great job, but Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction did an unbelievable era of Uncanny X-Men and the main X-Men title. And this collects the 3 major events of the Messiah complex. It's the Messiah complex, the Messiah something else, and the Messiah something else. That's how trilogies work. But this had unbelievable artwork. Mark Silvestri returned to the X-Men, Billy Tan. Unbelievable storytelling from 2 of the top writers, Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction. And then on top of that, look at this direct market exclusive cover by Adi Granov. Absolutely amazing. I love when the direct market exclusive stands out so much more than the mass market because that is only available at your local comic shop, not Amazon, not Barnes & Noble, not Walmart. Go to your local comic shop, get that stunning cover. This was an epic tale from the mid 2000s. I want to say roughly around 2006 to 2008. You're not going to want to miss out on it. All right, shall we venture over to Lunar Distribution, this wonderful website that's going to host DC, Oni, Dynamite, Image Comics, and more? It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer. All right. Make sure you're checked on the right date, January 12th, FOC. And we're going to instantly talk about absolutes. Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Superman. We're in a big return, but Absolute Superman's a big one because it's going to be the first appearance of Absolute Hawkman. Hawkman enters the Absolute Universe as one of the original heroes in the Absolute Universe, likely to get some attention. And I don't think there's a better writer for Hawkman than Jason Aaron. I don't know where your thoughts are on that, but I think I would actually read a Hawkman ongoing if Jason Aaron was writing it.
I want him back on Turtles. So, I'll find somebody, but I can't think anybody off the top of my head.
All right. Well, how about a very unexpected pairing? Archie and Ashley Williams in Archie Meets Army of Darkness.
See, this is not as unexpected as you would think.
Oh, please
Tell me the
elaborate.
difference between a Deadite and Jughead.
Well performed. There it is. Yes.
Also, Ash Williams has his problems with women. Archie has his problems with women. They're very similar.
No. I will say some of my favorite Archie stories have always been the unconventional crossovers. Archie meets Predator, Archie meets Aliens, Archie meets Punisher. Even the current Archie Minor Threats have been amazing. So Archie, Army of Darkness, this is really awesome. Eric Burnham writing it, Bill Galvin doing this. This is Dynamite releasing it. So there's going to be a million incredible covers, and I mean incredible. Look at this Stuart Sager cover. That is awesome. And there's even going to be a blind bag with more options, more covers, and who knows, because that recent Harley Quinn and Elvira blind bag with the potential to get an original sketch by Amanda Connor has me willing to take the risks and go deep on incredible Dynamite blind bags. So more fun stuff from Dynamite. Then Cullen Bunn returns to the Autumn Kingdom. The Autumn Kingdom came out a few years ago from Oni Press as Cullen basically brought us Evil Dead meets Labyrinth with a young woman who comes across a relic to fight all sorts of fantasy horror. We get a brand new return with a new 4-issue miniseries in The Wraithbound Queen. Here you can see our protagonist with her large sword. I think this was an awesome series. Christopher Mitten did an amazing job on artwork that just drew you in. It was the traditional darkness of Cullen Bunn while giving a very interesting fantasy setting that I don't feel we get enough from Cullen. And I think it made it a unique and fun one. Let's see, a lot of great continuing tales. If you were been missing out on Matt Fraction's Batman, we get new printings on the first 3 issues, so you can catch up. Issue number 5 this last week, an amazing issue, but issue 6 looks to promise even more, with Riddler returning, with Vandal Savage and others. Some stunning covers, all sorts of fun to be had there. For me, the Valentine's Day cover by Chrissy Zullo is going to be the must-have.
I
But
was just
there
going
are
to say something about that.
yeah, absolutely amazing cover, right? Just so cute.
I think Chrissy Zullo, what they're doing with this this Valentine's Day cover in their style, could like be the Scotty Young of the DC universe.
Yeah.
I think that this chibi style could really take off, especially because, like, can you imagine chibi Absolute Batman?
Ooh. I mean, I can because I got a Scotty Young Absolute Batman. But wow, yeah, Chrissy Zullo Absolute covers. DC, come on. Listen to Kyle. I don't understand why they haven't hired him yet.
Matt Keller, you have my phone number. Call me.
There it is. More later printings coming out from Lunar. We have Batman Static Beyond. If you missed out on this, this is a great crossover because I love adult Static Shock. It is awesome. We have some incredible trade paperbacks on FOC, but some unbelievable. Like, DC doesn't often win the covers game. It's a lot of Marvel. It's a lot of Dynamite. It's a lot of Boom. But DC has been upping their game over the past few years. And this week's FOC is incomparable as we get the DC KO one-shot everyone's been waiting for since New York Comic Con, Boss Battle. Written by Joshua Williamson and Jeremy Adams, this brings some of the most unexpected crossovers you can fathom. Archie, IDW, Dynamite, New Line Cinema, and more as we get Vampirella, Red Sonja, obviously Archie characters. We get, what is that horrible haunted doll called, Kyle?
Annabelle,
Red Sonja, Vampirella, Mortal
Prince
Kombat
Nicholas.
characters like Sub-Zero.
You're forgetting the best one. You're forgetting the one that I think is going to win.
Patrick Horvath's.
Right there.
Beneath
Samantha
the Tree.
from Beneath the Trees is
Yes.
going to win. She is the new, I think, the new big bad for the whole DC universe.
I love it. But the one I think I'm most interested to see the battle on, and I think a lot of attention is going to be drawn, is Homelander from The Boys. Wow. We'll talk
Superman
more about
versus Superman.
Yeah. We'll talk more about these covers soon, but wow, every single one of them a hit. And I mean, it just continues on with DCKO getting crazier. We're getting reprints finally of Night Fight, the most demanded of the spin-offs of DCKO, as well as the final issue, which has the darkest premise I can imagine. The only way Batman can get back into the tournament is to undo everything his son has done. In a world where we have just gone from one dark alternate take on Batman to another, we enter the world where Damian has perfected Gotham. And the only way Batman can get back into this tournament is to take it all away. Talk about a dark pitch. Dan Mora, Joshua Williamson, this is going to make me cry, I am certain. This is an unbelievable pitch for a finale from Night Fight. Then, as if those crossovers weren't crazy enough, this isn't actually a DCKO one, but a 2-issue miniseries pits the DC heroes with the superstars of the All Elite Wrestling, the AEW, written by Steven Orlando. I mean, come on, you're the wrestling guy, Kyle.
Well, Kenny Omega is an Omega level mutant. So, that seems like a better fit for Marvel. But, this is one of those things where you see brand synergy, right? AEW has a deal with Warner, gets in the DCKO of it all. You could definitely see, the Jacksons, the Young Bucks taking on, I would love to see the Young Bucks take on like Damian and Jason Todd. Like that would be a fun fight. Moxley totally could fight the Joker. Like it lines up pretty well because what wrestling is at its core is superhero stories, except told with real people. You have a good guy and a bad guy. They both do things that you couldn't do. So it kind of all works together.
I love it. And there is a blank available on this. And I mean, I think the last time we saw a good wrestling blank was Boom Studios WWE comics. So, I mean, you can get your favorite wrestler on a blank. Great way to go. Final issue of Doctor Who's Prison Paradox on FOC. And then, of course, we talked with Brett Bean earlier, but look at all these amazing, amazing covers for Dork. I mean, our chicken cover by Ryan Stegman, that is a 1 in 50. That is going to be awesome. And if you want that or that brilliant Ryan Otley of Invincible doing these covers, you're going to want to reach out to your local comic shop, place some big orders, help them get those high ratios. But imagine those are going to be quite the hefty price. So talk to your local comic shop and see what they're able to do and if they can get them for you. One way or another, you're not going to want to sleep on Dork. This is an incredible series. I am so excited. It was an honor to have Brett Bean on today to talk about it. A lot of wonderful continuing series on FOC this week. More crossovers and new printings of DCKO ones as Mark Waid and Chris Cantwell's Flash crossover with DCKO gets a second printing. We're going to have more Hank Howard from Bad Idea wrapping up Robert Venditti and David Lapham's awesome part of their hero trade crossover. High Strangeness on its penultimate issue. I know you've been loving that one, right, Kyle?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorites going right now.
Yeah. Inferno Girl Red and Immortal Legend Batman wrapping up with a little bit of Higgins and Supermassiveverse fun. We have more Justice League second printings for DCKO. A new Lenore one-shot. If you're curious, these are going to be a series of one-shots featuring Lenore by Roman Dirge. He is not done with the character, and Titan is going to be bringing them with brand new number ones. This is an early chance at it with the foil cover. Next week, we'll have the traditional covers on FOC, so keep in mind this one's going to be a $15 one. The traditional cover price covers will be on FOC next week. But one that has my attention is Maid Cafe. Keen Spot can be hit or miss with books. Obviously, Mark Spears' Monsters being a huge one. But they had a massive hit with Marry Me a few years back, which got made into a live-action film with Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez. We have the artist of Marry Me, Remy Mokhtar, not only doing this awesome cover, but doing the interior art in a tale of a young girl who works at a maid cafe and unfortunately gets upset at all the ungrateful men that take advantage of her and her coworkers at the maid cafe and decides to go postal with a chainsaw in a crazy retribution revenge story that I think could be the shocker of that week's release in the end of February. So Maid Cafe could be a weird one. I'm all for it though. Then Udon brings us more Mega Man with a new 5-issue miniseries of Mega Man X. I am all for this. I love Mega Man comics. And I hope that your store is getting enough to at least get 5 copies for that 1 in 5 video game cartridge homage variant. Again, probably not going to be cover price. Talk to your local comic shop to see if they're getting it and how much they're charging. Mercy Sparks' Daddy's issue wraps up with its 3rd and final issue and some great covers coming from the folks over at Devil's Due. We have all sorts of fun. The final issue of Never Wars, wrapping up that big epic that Don Hanfield has been bringing us of Dorothy, Peter Pan, and Alice in Wonderland. All sorts of fun there. I missed out when you got to have Dawn, I believe, on the FOC show last year.
Yeah, Don's great. Everybody at AMP is the coolest. I'm looking forward to having some more AMP guests on the FOC show this year, as they've kind of told me what's coming, and I'm excited about what I know.
Yeah. Well, another publisher I'm excited to talk to a little bit more this year is going to be the folks at Vertigo. Yes, DC has brought back Vertigo with James Tynion IV at the helm, helping bring some of these back. And the first big launch of Vertigo last year was Nice House by the Sea. Unfortunately, it was the only Vertigo book. Now Vertigo is out in full force in 2026 with a series of new books. If you go to your local comic shop, they may still have a preview of some of those upcoming books that I am excited for. But Nice House by the Sea finally comes back with its second part of the 12-issue run. Issue 7 releasing in February on the 4th. Get your FOC on because there's a bevy of amazing covers, including a connecting cover that will go across the various Vertigo titles, showing some of the Vertigo characters for the new era of Vertigo. So if you have ever been a fan of Vertigo, you remember those great 80s and 90s comics onward, this is it. Vertigo is back. If you missed out on Ordained, third printing is on FOC of Robert Venditti and Trevor Hairston's amazing comic that is already picked up for a new film. Not one to sleep on. And if you like things like Ordained, Marion Heretic, Warrior Nun Ariala, Antarctic Press has a new one for you in the Order of Saint Sophia, as we have religious priestess, sisterhood members fighting darker things. New 4-issue miniseries coming out from Antarctic Press. A lot of fun. Make sure you check out all of these awesome books on Lunar's FOC. Some great things ahead. We're getting closer and closer to issue 50 of Spawn Scorched. So grab issue 48 with great covers of She-Spawn and Haunt. Actually, hold on. I got to show off more Studio Ghibli journals, just traditional blank journals that are being offered through distribution now. So if you love Mononoke Hime, aka Princess Mononoke, or others, enjoy you have those opportunities. Superman fans, this one's going to be a big one. Superman Chains of Love Special brings us the Creeper and Livewire in a very interesting Valentine's themed one shot that will tie directly into Superman Unlimited and others as Leah Williams and Dan Slott team up for a brand new news service and media shock in Metropolis. Yes, the Creeper and Livewire are back, and they're going to try and knock the planet off of the Daily Planet with a brand new alliance in reporting the news in Metropolis. I'm just thinking this could not be a weirder pairing. I thought that having Jimmy Olsen dating a villain was crazy, but Livewire and Creeper might shock me the most. This looks absolutely amazing as a one shot. Once again, we'll tie into Superman Unlimited. Some great covers, including Mercan Dofo, Juan Ferreira, Yasmin Putri, Iguara. Absolutely looks awesome. So how can you beat that for Valentine's Day? Well, Dynamite is going to go crazy with it with Supernatural's 2026 Valentine's Day special. Yes, the Winchester brothers are going to have some love and romance. And while this is set in the early years of Supernatural, you can definitely see some references to the later seasons. If you look at a certain weapon right there from a Purgatory, this is going to be awesome. I love that Nikki managed to get some top tier artists to do covers on this because everyone's a fan of Supernatural. You have Kat Staggs, Reese Hannigan, Megan Hederick, Pascal Colano, and a blind bag bevy of incredible artists on a one shot dealing with the romances of the Winchester brothers. I am all in for this. This is exciting. I don't know exactly what season this will be set in, but I know I am going to love it. Who did we have on that? The writer of this was Preeti Chibber. I hate to say I'm not familiar with Preeti. I guess they did Marvel's Avengers Assembly and Spider-Man Social Dilemma, but I'm all in for it. Then, in a big one, I know that Kyle was talking about wanting Jason Aaron back on the Turtles. I'm excited to have Jason Aaron at Dynamite on Thundar the Barbarian. I love Jason Aaron's run on Conan. I can only imagine what he's going to do with this classic cartoon. I don't know if Kyle is available. I know he is having issues with his voice right now, but Thundar the Barbarian, classic cartoon. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I was always more of a John Carter of Mars guy, but Thundar is kind of, in a big way, the start of that tradition that a lot of folks, maybe a few years older than us, came up with, right? Like they knew Thundar before they knew the He-Man. They knew Thundar before they knew Conan. So I think this has a lot of potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, drag Rob Liefeld out, for a cover, that's definitely something where he chose to do that as a fan of the cartoon. Blind bags once again available, including a cover exclusively by Dan Panosian in there. I'm going to go after it because I want to see what Dan Panosian is going to bring to Thundar. Ton of amazing covers on this. And then, if you like another Thunder cartoon, Thundercats is getting its classic Marvel Comics reprinted by Dynamite with these omnibus editions, $125. So it's priced like a normal Marvel omnibus, but you can get it direct market exclusive homage cover right there. I love it. Then the continuation of the ongoing Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, ongoing Nightmare Before Christmas comic. The Shiver of Christmastown continuing on. This just dropped last Wednesday. If you didn't get a chance to grab it, you should. It is amazing. It is so much Tim Burton fun. And we have issue number 2 on FOC with some great covers with Lock, Stock, and Barrel, as well as the big man himself, Oogie Boogie. A lot of wonderful continuing comics on FOC. All sorts of fun, all sorts of horror. But I think it's time we cut to our top 10. So check out all those books on PRH Comics and LunarDistribution.com. Get your orders to FOC, but the 10 that you need to pay attention to are these. We're going to start with our honorable mention, as always. It is the Book of Slaughter Deluxe Edition slipcase. If you are a fan of Something is Killing the Children, if you are excited for that upcoming Blumhouse live-action Sick Tick, you don't want to miss out on this. I really think that people dropped the ball at Boom, not grabbing the Book of Slaughter storyline that focused on certain characters in the Order of St. George. Now you can get it all in one big slipcase edition. I know the Sick Tick ones of these are high-demand items, so do not miss out. Then we're going to start off the 10 with DC versus AEW, and who better to do a cover than one of the biggest wrestling fans in comics, Daniel Warren Johnson. Kyle, who are these characters? Who's knocking out Lex Luthor on this DWJ cover?
I honestly can't tell.
Okay, good, because I didn't know either. But beautiful wrestling cover, and you know that Daniel Warren Johnson covers always sell out or in high demand, blow up the aftermarket, especially when he does wrestling. So dive in for that. Then DC will be dominating much of this incredible top 10 list, but Superman Chains in Love special. Look at that Yasmin Putri, the kiss for Valentine's Day. It is shocking as Livewire and Creeper share saliva. Oof. Archie versus Army of Darkness with Robert Hack doing the homage to the classic Army of Darkness poster, which in itself homages so many other classics. I love this. I love seeing Veronica and Archie doing the Ash Williams. Then Sveta Shubina is just the artist to watch. Covers blasting beyond their initial prices on the aftermarket. So don't sleep on this finale to Mercy Sparks' Daddy issue, as Sveta Shubina does another great piece with our beloved Josh Blaylock. The last time Josh Blaylock did a Svetka cover was on Disavowed, and that became a triple figure book. This is an open order book. Make sure you don't sleep on it. Absolute Superman. It's the first appearance of Absolute Hawkman, and these first appearances in the Absolute Universe have been drawing a lot of attention with a high amount of demand. He's on the cover, the A cover by Rafa Sandoval. Do not miss out. If you want multiple copies, now is the time to tell your retailer. Then we get Mark Spears on Maid Cafe with that awesome Japanese katakana Maidel Cafe written down there at the bottom. But this is a haunting cover, and I think a good use of Mark Spears' art on the A cover right there. It's going to make this a must-have for me. Then we hit number 4 with Star Wars Jar Jar Binks. Dave Watcher doing the great cover with both Ahmed Best's characters. We have Jar Jar Binks and Jedi Kelleran Beck on the cover as they team up in this one shot with Mark Guggenheim at the helm with Ahmed Best. This is going to be a must-read Star Wars book. Then Brett Bean's Dork hits number 3. Cute cover, bloody insides, but all sorts of bloody funny humor. I think this is going to be great. Half dwarf, half orc, all dork. Get a pre-order in on this. This is going to be the new I Hate Fairyland. Let's be honest. Number 2, it's the highly talked about Adam Hughes cover on Black Cat number 7. Will be on screen momentarily, but this is an amazing one. It is already getting a lot of talk. Do not sleep on this. Even if stores order ridiculous on this, I think this is going to be an aftermarket gem. However, the big one is DCKO's Boss Battle. Get my face out of there. This is not one where I could choose one cover. Me and Kyle were fighting over this. We had to go with all of the covers. DCKO Boss Battle will have all of your favorite characters. Once again, you're going to get Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, The Boys, Vampirella, Red Sonja, Archie, and more. In fact, Frank Cho managed to get a pile of crossovers in Femme Fatales in there. But I don't know which one's going to be the biggest. My bet would lean towards Derek Robertson's Homelander versus Superman. But Kyle, where would you pick your highest on this?
Well, only because Joker's on the cover. It's got to be the C cover there with Sam and the Joker.
Yeah, Patrick Horvath doing it.
Yeah, Patrick Horvath art. But don't sleep on Frank Cho, because when a book has collars, it sells well.
Yeah.
So I think the thing about this one is this is one of those examples of call your shop, let them know, hey, I'm going to want all 6 covers.
Absolutely.
Right? Just let them know, and they'll get them for you. Because I don't think you can go wrong. I don't think there's a wrong choice here.
Yeah, this is a one shot. It is going to be a big one. Even if you're not reading DCKO, I'm going to see you wanting this. Do you like Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees and you're not reading DCKO? You want that cover C. Do you love The Boys on Amazon Prime? You enjoyed every issue of Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson's comic. You need that incredible Superman vs. Homelander cover. Are you a fan of all those awesome Femme Fatales and Dynamite like Vampirella and Red Sonja? You're enjoying every issue of Dynamite? Then you need that Frank Cho cover. This is going to draw people out who are not even picking up DCKO. And DCKO is a record-selling book right now at DC, so let's face it. This is the book on FOC to order, and it might be multiple copies you're ordering it. I know I'm going after every cover because I'm just bad like that. I need every cover on this. Let your local comic shop know so you can guarantee the cover you want is in your pull, especially if you want multiple covers. And you're not fighting a limit one per customer type of situation, because even ordering huge, I feel stores will be under ordering on this masterpiece. Yep. Joshua Williamson, Jeremy Adams. It's perfect. All right, Kyle, let's talk about it. What else is on the EXP this weekend?
Well, the big show you're going to want to watch is tonight at 7. Is the original art experience with Nick. He has at least 3 Mark Bagley covers for sale.
Wow.
Yeah. So tonight's show will be huge. The art show will be huge. They're celebrating some stuff. Nick's had a few weeks off for the holidays where he's had other folks filling in. So Nick will be back tonight with his Mark Bagley sale. Then Nancy will be following up with him or after him tonight at 9 with Friday Night Live from Comics Unlimited. We're going to see how I'm sounding. If I'm still sounding like this, I may not do a show on Sunday. But if I'm sounding better, then Jay and I will be doing a show on Sunday, which I've got some fun ideas for. Then next week, stay tuned. We have a full slate of shows next week, including this one, the FOC show, where maybe I'll be here. Maybe it'll be Jay. We got to wait and see. But I'm sure we'll have a great guest and we'll have tons to talk about.
Sounds amazing. And then we'll be back next week with another list of incredible books on FOC next Monday. But we need you to reach out to your local comic shop now with all the incredible comics, all the awesome covers that you want on FOC this Monday, January 12th. The sooner you tell them, the better. Thank you guys all for watching. Huge thanks to Brett Bean for coming on and talking up Dork.
Yeah. See you guys next time.